Welcome to Season 3 of MTE's Plugged In Podcast. This season, we will continue to explore the world of electric vehicles. Whether you're a seasoned EV driver or you're just beginning your journey into electric vehicles, this podcast is for you. For a more enhanced experience, be sure to watch the video version of this podcast that will be linked in the show notes.
Hello everyone and welcome to MTE's Plugged In Podcast. I'm Brandon Wagner and as always, I'm joined with Amy Byers.
And today, Brandon, I'm pretty excited. We have some of our teammates with us. So this is going to be a little different type of podcast. But today we are welcoming Chalisa Perkins, who is our member experience supervisor, and Janora Nance, who is a member support specialist. So we asked them to, we kind of used them as guinea pigs a little bit, and we asked them to get into your Tesla under the self-driving mode and see what happens. So both of these, well, I think when we scheduled this podcast, neither one of you were EV drivers.
That's correct.
That has changed. Mm-hmm. So we will circle back with Chalisa, because Chalisa is a brand new EV driver of about a week, yes, if that long. So we'll circle back to that at the end of the podcast. But first we want to talk about kind of your experience with the self-driving. But before we do that, we want to give you each a little opportunity to talk about yourself. So Chalisa, we'll start with you.
Hello, my name is Chalisa Perkins, and I am the Member Experience Supervisor here at Middle Tennessee Electric. I have been with the organization for about 7 years. I am the Member Experience Supervisor, so I work along with different departments overall, helping to improve the member experience.
Okay. Janora, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, my name is Janora. I've also been with the company for 7 years. I am a member support specialist, so we pretty much just deal with like their member facing.
So if somebody wants to come in and pay their bills or sign up for service,
Mm-hmm.
you're the one there greeting them with a smile.
We are.
There you go. Okay. So so let's kind of started talking a little bit about what we just got through doing, and remind all of the listeners out there, if you're just listening to us, you might want to hop on to our YouTube channel. We videoed this, so I'm kind of excited to see what this looks like, but we will definitely link that video in the show notes so everyone can be able to access that. But so both of you had the chance to test out the Tesla Model Y under the self-driving mode. Now we have established first that, I know Chalisa, you have driven, I know you've just bought one, but before that you have driven the EVs that MTE has as part of our fleet. Janora, had you ever driven an EV before?
No.
So this was brand new, which could explain some of the footage we got. But anyway, Chalisa, we'll start with you. What were kind of your thoughts?
I was very impressed by it. I liked the attributes of it. It's very smart. So like we were driving along a road that had cones in it, and the Tesla automatically shift away from those cones. I think the more you get accustomed to it and the more you drive with it, with the self-driving feature, the more acclimated, the more you can actually trust the car. Now, I will say initially when I got in there, I was like, wait a minute, you find yourself wanting to clutch that steering wheel, or you find yourself wanting to press that brake or the gas. But like I said, I think over time, the more you use it, the more you could get acclimated to it, and it would definitely be a great feature in any EV that's readily available out there that has that feature.
Yeah. So Janora, before we talk about the self-driving, I just have a question. This was your first time to drive an EV?
It was.
Okay, so let's talk about what did you think about driving an EV, and then we'll get to the other. So what were your thoughts on driving an EV?
It's gonna take a lot to get used to it.
I know you said when you got out of the car that you needed to duct tape your foot
Yes.
to the pedal. So apparently that was it. I was not brave enough to go on this ride along. I kind of let y'all have it, but so apparently that was new to you.
I wanted to brake, touch the steering wheel.
Yeah.
Where it did not almost hit the cones, I almost did.
So you were wanting to take control back from you didn't trust it. So that goes into, what did you think about the self-driving?
It's gonna take getting used to as well. It has some perks. I would like for it to come pick me up.
Well, I kind of got the sense that, Chalisa, you felt really comfortable pretty quickly, I felt like, in the self-driving. What made you feel so confident with it?
I think maybe because I've driven EVs before, and so I think for me, I was accustomed to really with an EV, you drive with one pedal. Because as soon as you let up off that gas, the car is going to really slow down and pretty much stop. So I think that was the reason why I was able to get in and maybe adapt a little bit more, just because even before I purchased one, as Amy stated, I had driven some of our fleet cars, to like other offices and things of that nature. So again, I still think I will have to build up trust, but I mean, I think it's a great feature that I'll probably take advantage of in my new vehicle while I have that, free subscription.
Yeah. And Janora, you were maybe a little bit more apprehensive, but what was funny is I felt like, at least my takeaway was, I almost felt like you were more apprehensive when you were driving rather than the car. Yes. Tell me about that.
Yeah. I don't know. I wanted to put on the brakes, but when I was about to, it would break. And I'm like, you're not driving. The car is driving.
So there was that one experience where we were about to get on the interstate and we needed to really stay in the right lane because we're turning in a quarter mile, but it decided to go over and around, and you were driving at that time. Tell me about that. How hard was it for you to just let it do its thing?
It was hard. Especially when it's in my truck on the other side.
I'm so glad. Now
Very
that I know
hard.
y'all got on the interstate, I'm so glad I chose not to go on this trip.
But it did get over in time to get on the interstate.
Yeah.
I like that too. Yeah.
It shocked both of us. I think all three of us that we were like, would we have made this move if we were driving, So, okay, so one more thing too. When we got on the interstate, we actually took it out of self-driving. And I had to kind of twist Janora's arm a little bit. Since it was her first time driving an EV, I said, slow down, give some space between that, and then hammer down on it. And it took a couple of times, but finally the third time, tell me about the third time when you finally hammered down on it.
I felt I had enough space, but it's just so instant.
Yeah.
But nobody would probably ride with me because as soon as you take your foot off the gas, it's just, I don't know. I'll have to get used to the braking.
Space. All right, now hit it.
Whoa.
Oh, you can do better than that.
Like we're on a roller coaster.
What's the speed limit? 7?
Yeah, you're good. All right, hit it. There you go. Oh gosh. So let's pull. Okay, they're going the other way. You're good. Yeah, we'll blame the car.
It just kept driving. I'm so sorry.
I didn't even see or hear him though until we were right up on him.
It is a lot to get used to. It really is. It's like driving like a golf cart, or something like that. But you're just, going. If you're not used to driving them, it is a hard thing to get used to. But can't you change that? Like some of the cars have a feature that you can change it to where it doesn't.
Yeah, well,
that
so
as
that
bad
was what we had it on chill mode, and we had it on minimal lane change, and it still did it.
That was not chill mode.
That was not chill
That
mode.
was
It's not chill enough for you.
Chalisa threw me over in the back seat.
Just laying down, literally.
That's true. The turns were pretty aggressive. I was surprised. So, what else surprised you during autonomous driving?
The takeoff.
The takeoff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speeds up really quick.
Even when it's driving by itself, I was kind of surprised myself by that. What about you, Chalisa? Anything that surprised you?
I think maybe the auto park, I didn't really realize that. One great feature about it is, for me, I can't back into anything. And so, when you pull into that parking lot and you push that auto park and it immediately backs your car into that parking spot. And I mean, it looks perfect. So that is definitely something I was shocked and didn't realize that it had that feature.
Yeah. Yeah, and we tested out the auto summon too. We were talking about that's a popular feature for my kids on Sundays after church, especially if it's raining. Have the car come pick you up under the breezeway. That's kind of nice. So, yeah.
So, after experiencing this, we've had a couple of podcasts now where we have talked about the auto taxis or the Waymo in the future, to where if you need a ride, you just call and this car pulls up and there's no driver and you just get in and it just takes you wherever. So what do y'all think about, because we've talked about this, and I've said multiple times, there's a lot of sci-fi movies where that went wrong, and I don't know how I feel about that, but having done the self-driving, how would you feel about it?
I'm not gonna do it.
You're with me. I'll give you a ride,
Thank you,
Janora.
Amy. I will pay you to Uber.
Okay, there you go.
Not gonna do it.
What about you, Chalisa?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think I'm there yet, but I think eventually over time, I think it's something that I could potentially get comfortable with. But right now, yeah, I don't. I think with a Tesla, even though it's in self-driving mode, you still have the ability to take that car out of self-driving mode and take back control. If you are in one of those vehicles, your ability to do that is not there. You're on the back seat, exactly, and it's being controlled by a dispatcher. And so I'm not there yet, but I definitely like trying new things. And it depends on if I'm going from the front of the parking lot to the back of the parking lot, I may consider it. But if I need to get from the airport to my hotel, probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah.
So let me ask you something you said prompted me a question. So you're in self-driving. How quick is it to go to take back control? Like, is it like you have to go over here and push a button? Is it just grabbing the steering wheel? I mean, what do you have to do to get it back?
You can, there's really 3 ways. You can push the stalk up if you're like really under control. Like when we got on the interstate and I wanted Janora to experience acceleration, she just pushed the stalk up and it took you out. You can turn the wheel. You kind of have to be a little aggressive with it because it's going to fight you, but you have to, be intentional. And the other thing is you can hit the brake. And I was telling them that when you do that, it'll pop up on the screen, hey, you came out of full self-driving, what happened? And you can record a message to tell feedback on this is what's going on. So yeah, so it's pretty instantaneous. We were talking about how there is one road on my way home every day that I know the right lane is going to be it's going to become a right turn only lane, and the car always wants me to get over there, and so I always have to fight it every day on the way home in that one spot. I probably should use that feedback thing and say, hey, it's a right turn only. Quit putting me over here. I'd love to see if it would actually adjust.
One thing I also liked about it too is, so as we had it in self-driving mode, like Brandon was, finagling the screen, and I was paying attention to him, and the car would automatically pick up and beep like, pay attention please. So that is one attribute that I really like, because the vehicle could pick up and sense that, yeah, I'm self-driving her, but she's not paying attention to the road. So that was a great feature that it's gonna still help you focus.
So you couldn't sit there and read a book.
Yeah.
It's going to be like, no.
Yeah,
You need to
that's
pay
correct.
attention.
Yes, you need to pay attention.
Or if you're nodding off, it could wake you up, I guess.
Yeah,
That's
potentially.
interesting.
So is there anything that you can think of that would help build your trust to where one day you'll take a Waymo or a robo-taxi?
Not right now.
Not yet.
I'm with you.
Not right now.
I think as they continue to evolve and technology continues to grow, I definitely could foresee myself, again, I would start off small, going maybe a mile or 2, or from the front of the parking lot to the back of the parking lot. But it would probably be something I would do initially on my own. I don't know if I would involve, anyone else in that unique experience initially. But I think as technology changing, as it evolves, we're going to see more and more of that. And I think as it becomes more common, you're going to get more buy-in from, various folks.
We've talked about, in previous podcasts, there's some great leasing options out there. And we were just talking in passing one day, and all of a sudden you told me I'm actually going to pick up a Tesla. So tell me a little bit about your experience. What made you decide to do it? You also had an interesting experience about picking it up and even the test drive. So tell us just a little bit about that.
Okay, so yes, Brandon is correct. Bebopped in his office on a Friday, and I said something, and we started having the conversation around Teslas and just various programs and various, things they have out there, and it piqued my interest. I wasn't really sure if, the EV, I've always said for a long time, I'm not sure I'll get an EV, not really sure, on the fence. But once we talked about it, I'm like, well, this is a great opportunity. So that was on a Friday. So on that Saturday, I decided to go out on the website and sort of peruse and see what they had readily available. Downloaded the Tesla app onto my phone. Someone from Tesla reached back out to me. They wanted to know why I was interested in Tesla. They have the pre-approval process and everything on the app and just different things of that nature. And so as I was engaging with the customer service rep from Tesla, he was like, well, would you like to schedule a test drive? And I was like, no, I don't, I live in Murfreesboro and I don't really want to drive to Franklin and it's like 6 o'clock at night. And he was like, well, what about tomorrow? And I'm like, yeah, no, I didn't tell him that, but I'm just like, no, I'm still on the fence. I'm just playing in the waters right now. I'm just testing the waters. And so the next day, which would have been Sunday, I thought about it more and more, and I was like, I'm going to schedule this test drive. I'm going to go to church, and then when I leave church, I'm going to schedule a test drive. So that morning when I got up and I pulled up the app, I noticed that I had the ability to test drive the car here locally in Murfreesboro. And I was like, wow, I wonder how this is going to work. The Tesla dealership is in Franklin, and the car is here in Murfreesboro. So I went in and I scheduled my test drive, and someone from Tesla called me. They reached out to me. They were texting me periodically, letting me know that, why you have this vehicle for an hour, go ahead and use the supercharge so that you can get that experience. That's also going to allow you to look at the various attributes in the vehicle while it's charging. So I was like, oh, that's a really great feature. They also have self-driving that you can do while you're test driving the vehicle. So once I'm finished with church, I have my spot that I have to go to get the vehicle to test drive it. And it's actually at one of the local restaurants here in Murfreesboro. And my test drive was scheduled for 1 o'clock. So I pull up about 12:45 and I'm like totally confused because there's no salesman outside of this car. There's no one there but the car. And I'm like, well, how am I even supposed to get in it? What am I supposed to do? And so about 12:45, someone called and they said, okay, at 1 o'clock, pull out your phone, take it to the vehicle, and it will unlock the car and it will start the car. And you will have the vehicle from 1 to 2 p.m. Again, once you're done with it, just bring the vehicle back. Once you drop it off, get out of the car will automatically shut off and the doors will lock. And so that was my experience test driving the vehicle. And I know that's very uncommon and very unheard of because you think a dealership is not going to just leave a couple cars in the middle of nowhere and give you the ability to come and test drive their car. There's no salesman in the back seat or the front seat saying, yeah, I think you should add this feature, or no, I don't think you should. So that overall was a very different experience for me. So I did that on a Sunday. So throughout the week, I continued to work through the app because you do everything on the Tesla app, from completing your paperwork to making your payments. You do all of that. So once you've completed your paperwork, they give you a time. They allow you to choose the time to come in to actually pick up the vehicle. And so on Saturday, when I went and picked up the vehicle, woke up Saturday morning super duper excited. I'm like, I'm going to get a vehicle. So I had someone drop me off and I was like, okay, drop me off around 10:30. I'm going to get her early. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get this done before I change my mind. So I walk into the Tesla dealership and it was, a couple people, in the room. They had a couple of the vehicles there in the showroom. And I was like, I have an 11 o'clock appointment. And so the gentleman asked me my name. I gave him my information. He was like, okay, if you'll go have a seat in the service room, he was like, we'll be with you shortly. And so when I initially went in the room, it was just me. He said, but it's probably going to be closer to 11 before we get to you. And I was like, okay, that's fine. No worries. I'm here. I'm early. I'm getting a car. And so as I sat there and it got closer to 11 o'clock, more people started to join me in this room. And so initially I'm like, man, I'm glad I got here early because I'm going to be first. I'm going to get my vehicle first. And so at 11 o'clock on the dot, 3 people from Tesla walks in and it's a room full of people. And they were like, yay, everybody in this room is getting a new Tesla today. And I was like, oh, this is very different. I was very taken back. And so the gentleman was like, okay, so we're going to go behind this table. Everyone come up, give us your name. look at your paperwork, which you had already reviewed it in the app, just initial it and sign off on it. So I was like, okay, this is, again, very weird. I'm like, someone's gonna talk to me and they're gonna take me to the car and, you know, all of that good stuff. So I completed my paperwork expeditiously, returned it, and so he was like, okay, I'm gonna unlock the car from my phone. You're in parking spot F1 under the tree. Once you get to the car, you take your phone and you set up your key fob, and thank you for shopping with Tesla and have a great day. So the thing about it is, when I got in the car, so I guess everyone that's picking up a car in the 11 o'clock hour, when you pull up to the dealership, they have the flashers flashing on the vehicles. And so I get in the car, and it was another gentleman in the room. You could tell he had bought several Teslas because he was very experienced. And I'm walking out the door like about to have a panic attack. And so no joke, I get in the car and the flashers are flashing, and I'm like, well, I don't even know how to turn off the flashers. And so I was like, I don't want to go back in there and ask because they're going to be like, she doesn't need this car. So I had to Google, no joke, before I pulled out of the parking lot, how do you turn off the flashers on the Tesla? So needless to say, I got them turned off and I drove the vehicle home, and I've been pleased with it ever since. Yeah.
That's very, it's
Yeah.
very interesting. I kind of like that because, you know, salesmen always are like, so to not have that would
Yeah.
be nice.
I think that's going to be the car buying of the future, though. I really do. I think that that's going to be it.
It's such a better experience, and you don't have to spend all day getting a car. You can test drive it. You don't have to have somebody there watching everything you do.
It
And
would be nice, though, if they at least escorted you to the car to say, here's how you turn off the flashers. Or a little fact sheet. I mean, just have a fact sheet in there, like, where your windshield wipers are here, you know, just a little, like, here's how you turn the headlights on, just maybe
But
just
once
a
I got
little
at
bit.
home, I got a little bit more comfortable with it because then I was on my own turf. And so I could sit in the driveway and I could figure it out. So that calmed my nerves and calmed my anxiety. And I think initially, and I like what you said, but however, I probably would have been so overwhelmed, I probably would not have even really comprehended what they were actually saying. So, but it was a good experience. I would encourage anyone to, if you have the opportunity, even if you're just thinking about it, test drive one. And you don't even have to travel to Franklin to do it. You can do it, you know, very close to wherever you live. They have them situated throughout our territory.
cool. That's cool. I think that's one reason they don't have to have salespeople is the experience is so cool. You can't help but talk about it. So now we got to get you behind the wheel and getting one, Janora.
Maybe her first experience should not have been.
I may have set her back a little bit.
Yeah, I think we might have set her back on her
Yeah.
EV journey a little bit today, but.
But I do appreciate, and Amy, you know, we've worked with Janora and Chalisa, and we know that it's just an honor to get to work with you all. And Chalisa and I, we get to work on the same team. So.
Well, and Chalisa's, she's kind of been, even though she's just now
Oh,
new
yeah.
to having an EV,
Yeah.
but she's been part of our EV family. She's
That's
always
right.
at the EV Car Club's events. So anybody that has been to any of the Supercharge events,
That's true.
Chalisa's always there.
That's true.
So she is part of the family,
That's
and
right.
now officially, she
Yeah.
she is with her very own EV.
Yeah, and this podcast idea came about because we were working with Janora and some others about the chargers up front, and so while we were out there, we took a little test drive, and we were like, man, this is fun. We need to do this as an episode. So, but I appreciate the servant hearts that both of you all have, and for those of you that work with MTE and you may not always see Janora and Chalisa, but you experience the work that they do for sure, and so they certainly have the heart of a servant and want to make sure that our purpose is to make our members' lives better, and we're thankful for teammates that make that part of who they are.
Thank you both for joining us today, and thanks to everybody out there listening. For more information on MTE's Drive EV programs or the EV Car Club, visit us at driveev.com or email us at evcarclub@mte.com. And until next time, plug in, power up, and drive safe.